Yeah.
My number 2 then is not a game. It's a peripheral. It's the Guitar Hero guitar. No, it's I got the chance to try out the Oculus Rift, or Oculus Rift, some people are calling it. I've heard it both ways. Which is, if you haven't heard of it, it's a sort of independently developed device that started, I think, on Kickstarter. And it was one of those things that you saw and think, that isn't going to be as good as they're promising. And it fucking is. It's a VR headset that, you know, do you remember virtual reality back in the 90s?
Definitely,
It was just a fucking mess. This isn't. It's a lightweight headset with a screen for each eye that wraps around each eye so you can't see out of the screen, and has one-to-one tracking movement for your head. And it was funny because I played this at an event, and I went, and it was in a busy bar in London, and the first time I put it on, I was like, this is not anywhere near as good as I'd hoped or had been promised, and I was really disappointed. I put it down, and then a little bit later in the night I noticed that there was one going again, so I picked it up, went on it, and I spent a lot longer on it. I spent about half an hour on it, and within, I'd say, about 5 to 10 minutes, I'd completely forgotten that I was in a bar. So the game I was playing, I didn't catch the name of it, but it was a dogfighting spaceship game. The graphics were surprisingly good, because I know they haven't got high definition yet. So when you first put it on, it's like you're looking really close at a television.
Yeah.
But then as you get used to the screens, your eyes relax and you sort of ignore that side of things, and it's nowhere near as bad as some people are reporting. And see, the whole idea of VR headsets is to immerse you into a video game world, and I think there's certain, I've seen a lot of demos of this, and there's a lot of them are trying to recreate first-person shooters, and I think that's the wrong way of going about what this headset's about, because suddenly you become disconnected when you're walking. Like, your character's walking, but your legs aren't moving because you're sitting in a chair or you're standing up and pressing forward on a stick. When you're playing games where your body's tied down or your body's not in use, so for example, a racing game, this spaceship game, if you're on a roller coaster or something like that, suddenly it becomes a lot more real, because although I can't feel like a steering wheel in my hand, or I don't feel like I'm steering a ship. I still feel like I'm controlling something with my hands. And I'd say after a little while of just sort of getting used to having this thing on my head, I'd completely forgotten that it was on my head. And I'm sitting there, I'm flying around, and there was this really wonderful moment that could have been straight out of an advert for the fucking thing, the overreacting people playing Connect or whatever, and laughing and joking. So I was sitting there in this spaceship, and I looked over to my right, and I saw an enemy aircraft, and I was like, right, I'm going to that. And my body was fully aware that I was looking to the right, and that my crosshairs and my guns were aimed straight ahead of me. So I moved the stick over to move my spaceship towards it, and started firing. And as I was firing, I looked over to my left just to have a look to see if there was any other spacecraft about. And I saw one, and I thought, right, I'll get that bastard off. I'm done with this. I looked forward, and while I was looking to my left, the guy I was chasing had turned around and was flying straight at me. And my body instantly went, fuck, I've got to get out of the way. And as I was moving, I was sort of squirming in my seat to try and move away from this thing that was coming straight towards me. And once I'd got away from that, a HUD appeared in front of me with someone chatting, like I was getting orders. And it was like, as we've seen in loads of these games, where there's like a little box in the corner, flashes up, and someone's talking to you, and the animation's going and stuff. It all looks nice. Well, in this, it appeared, because it's 3D, because you've got a screen for each eye, it sort of just appeared right in front of me. And although it was there and this person was talking, I didn't have to look at it. I could look around, and so in my head it was actually there. It was part of the ship, and I totally lost myself. After a while I was sitting there thinking, shit, this is this is a real big step forward. It's better than 3D. It's better than, you know, this the Wiimote and stuff like that. This is a real thing that could transform racing games and, you know, flying games and stuff like that. This could be a huge step forward. And with the news that's sort of breaking that Sony are going to announce their own VR headset, if it's anywhere near this, then we are in for a treat in the next generation, and this is going to be the next big thing. You can shove your camera games, you can shove your augmented reality stuff, because this is it. This is real, and it will make you play games and experience games like you never have before. And by the time I had left, I was buzzing. I went from thinking this is overhyped nonsense to thinking this is a game changer, and I was just constantly thinking of all the games that I love playing and how this would affect me playing them. I'm one of those people when I play racing games where I have to look at the car, you know, so the camera's outside of the car.
Yeah, me too. Yeah.
With this, I will never do that again. I just imagine looking up and looking at my rear view mirror, or looking down and changing gears, or, you know, turning my head to judge a corner as I'm approaching it without having to turn my car in any way, if you know what I mean, if that makes sense. It's amazing, and I really hope Sony have sort of matched it. I mean, it'd be even better if they say, right, we've hired or we've bought Oculus Rift, and that's what we're bringing to the console market. But I'm not sure. I don't know if they will. But yeah, fuck. Wow, you've got to try it. You've not tried one yet, have you?
No. This was in the Virgin Media thing, wasn't it?
Yeah, so it's called Virgin Media Game Space, and what it is, it's just a bar set up with loads of screens and consoles, like we've seen so many times before. But the thing you sort of notice is that there's no first-person shooters on show or any big budget titles. It's all indie games, and that's what they're sort of pushing onto the public, that there's these indie games and that video games aren't these big scary things with really hard controls, and that they can be very accessible and unique. And they had free Oculus Rift headsets there, and it's free. It's in Shoreditch, and it's free to go along. So if you're near that area, I wouldn't say that the game space is worth travelling to, because there's not actually that much there. But if you're near that area, then you should definitely jump on the tube and go and check it out. Because, yeah, as I say, you know, you can walk in and try it out for nothing. I think there's going to be a small game space set up in the Eurogamer Expo as well in a few weeks. So if you see that, ignore the queues for the next Call of Duty game and queue up for Oculus Rift, because that's the future. That's and hopefully you'll like it as much as I did. Fuck. Video games are going to be mental. Not only that, it kind of made, you know, that whole Illumi room and even Connect, it makes it look embarrassing. You know, the whole idea with that stuff is to try and immerse you into the games you're playing. This does that more than anything else that's come before it. You know, even, you know, when you're playing Guitar Hero, there are moments where you feel that you've got a real guitar in your hand and that you're on stage and playing with a band. This does more than that. It puts you in a fucking cockpit. And yeah, fuck. Honestly, you need to try this out.
Did they not? Was there no information about what they're doing with it, where it's going? Have they not?
Well,
I mean, just as a thing, is it? I mean, they if Sony announced they'd bought it, that would be quite expected, I guess, because I've heard so much about the tech. I just don't know what they're doing with it.
Well, the tech is. Someone told me at the Game Space that I'm not 100% sure is true, that it's all off the shelf stuff that can be put together by anyone. So it's not exactly patented or anything like that. So that's a worry for the creators. But no, what they're continuing to develop it for PC at the moment. There's a lot of people doing a lot of stuff with PC. You know, like the likes of someone's modded it to work with Grand Theft Auto. Someone's made it work with Mirror's Edge and stuff like that. What I want someone to do is make it work with F-Zero X or Wipeout or something like that, where, you know, you haven't got that disconnect of your characters moving their body, but you're not. Because I think that's where this sort of tech will shine. But at the moment, I think it's just solely looking at the sort of indie video game scene. And the sooner someone like Sony or Microsoft announce that they've got one coming out for their console, the better. Because if it's, if it's, say it's £200, I think I would play that. I think I'd buy that. It's just a USB thing. You plug it in, and then it'll work with a bunch of games. Fucking hell! Just thinking about it now. It'd be amazing.
Well, if it is as incredible as you say it is, it can't be long before either Microsoft or Sony announces that they've either bought it or they've approximated that technology. So fuck yeah! If I get an opportunity, I'm going to jump on it. It sounds amazing.
Yeah, if you get down to Eurogamer, then it's the sort of thing that you really should queue up for.
Yeah.
And not a game that's coming out in a couple of months,
Fair play. Fuck, that sounds great.
It is great.